Welcome to Psychologie of Home. I have Tamara here, and she is moving into her new home on Monday.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about this new home. You've been using words like quirky and weird and odd. So tell us about it. And what made you buy this home?
My husband works in healthcare, and he's been commuting for 2 years almost. His whole dream, his whole life is wanting a home near Corvallis.
Okay.
And
big Beavers fan? Like what's
he loves the slow pace, the kindness of that town. And
he's into kindness? Weird.
It's the kindness. He's a very like slow paced person. I've never been. And slowly Portland like beat it out of me this last year where I agreed to look for a house there. And we found something that's in the middle of Corvallis Independence in this little nook that's called Benton County. It's not in a city.
Oh, so it's like unincorporated?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the house itself is an addition that was built on. And so it's not aesthetically like something I would have ever thought I could fall in love with. But the view, the fact that it's on an acre and a little bit more than an acre, and it overlooks an apple orchard. And it has all these weird rooms that I could create something in.
Yeah.
Which aligns with, I like different things. So I immediately knew, I was like, okay, I agree. There's like not much in that area, believe it or not, under 500,000 in those zip codes. I know that's not that much in Portland standards, but in Corvallis, I was like, what?
No, you got an acre, an apple orchard.
Yeah.
And then, so what's the total square footage? Because I couldn't, there's the ADU.
1,800.
1,800 between all three of those?
Yeah.
It seems so much bigger.
I think so.
Wow.
The garage, I think, is included. It's like a 5 or 6 car garage.
Yeah.
It's a huge garage.
Are you guys car collectors?
No, but I can't wait to just take all my store stuff that I collected in random places and put it all there and look at it and just sort it out and sell it. Or I don't know. I've never had a garage.
By store, she means she is a reseller of women's fashion, right?
Yeah, designer consignment.
Consignment, yeah.
Consignment.
I've bought a few things from her before. Yeah.
That's how we met, I think.
Actually, I bought a pair of shoes off Instagram one time. Remember? There was like a pair of sandals, and I was like, I'm 7.5. I need those.
It must have been very long ago because I don't do the Instagram anymore.
Oh, yeah. No, it was pre-COVID. So, okay, so you're not afraid of these quirky spaces.
No.
Because you're going to do some fun things with it.
Yes.
So
we don't have kids. We don't need to be anything but us.
So what about this house, since that's not puzzling to you or confusing to you how you might eventually flesh those rooms out, what are some of the pain points? Like what are you thinking that is you might want to do or the house doesn't have for you that's important to you? This isn't your first house. So like how you lived in your last house that you really enjoyed that you might not be able to get in this house.
Well, you said, I always loved interior design, but I liked interior design in the sense that I like to make it pretty. I never used my houses though. I never used my kitchen until I met my husband.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, you can't sit or eat or touch anything in your houses. Like, so we clashed for a while, not in like a big way, but more like, I was like, what is wrong with that? I didn't spend a ton of time at home, but I like to make homes pretty.
Yeah.
Everything in my living room.
You have my blessing on that, by the way.
Everything in my living room. I had this pink, like not this one, but I had a pink couch, and he has steered me in a direction where let's learn how to live in our home. I have had to figure out how to create spaces where you can sit on a couch and it's comfortable and exist there. And also I find it cute.
Yeah.
And so this home is exciting because we got married last year. It's his second home. This would be my third. And just creating a space. You said something on one of your Instagram posts recently that was like, you want to feel good instead of it just looking good.
Yeah.
Or in conjunction with that.
Yeah.
And that I think is the challenge in this oddly conjointed yet cozy house that we're going to set up.
Is to feel good there.
Yes. To enjoy the last year of our lives has just been him traveling. He's a traveling healthcare person. So all the time I'm traveling or working crazy hours. I've scaled back my work and we want to like spend time together.
Build this sanctuary.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you? What are some of the elements that would go into a sanctuary space for you? Like, what would that be?
Well, I thought about when you walk in, there's like a weird pocket room. We could make it like an elegant cafe style little dining room for two.
Okay. That's that room that you showed me that just looks like an alcove.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When you walk in.
And there isn't any other dining room. There's just the great room, which you could incorporate a dining table.
Yes.
Okay.
He cooks everything.
Okay.
I love that. So I would love like a big table.
Nicely done.
I mean, I have learned to not even like going out to eat as much anymore. But like some sort of really warm feeling but cute kitchen. Like that's what I'm looking forward to. That room I sent you a picture of.
Yeah.
And some place where we can watch TV like not that regularly in that room.
Yeah.
That's probably all we're going to be doing is cooking,
eating,
and maybe have a TV in there.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, that's the room. Don't you think that's the hub of the house?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this alcove isn't necessarily part of what you just described. It could just be this little add-on area.
Yeah.
What do you guys like? Wine? Do you guys drink?
We do. We like to make cocktails.
Okay. Because that's what I think of when I saw that little alcove. Instead of it being a dining room, I saw it as it could be a sitting room or a reading nook. Like that's another thing that's really cute. Like you could just put bookshelves all over it and just have it be this cozy reading nook with, maybe like a faux sheepskin rug and some throw pillows and comfy chairs, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or it could be a bar, like a home lounge.
Nathan would love that.
I think
that's a good idea.
Yeah. It's just, I actually say this a lot, but it's just so inviting.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just nothing like, just some boozy beverages that just say, hey, let's relax and hang out and unwind. And I feel like that space is just screaming for it. Unless but I like the library idea too. I mean, it just kind of depends on who you are.
Yeah.
If you're going to cozy up with a book and, there's no fireplace there, but I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Because there's no fireplace.
There is a fireplace in that main room.
Oh, in the great room.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you feel like I didn't see that. I want to look at that. So do you feel
that sliding glass door?
Oh, okay. So do you feel like you'll sort of make that a focus?
The fireplace?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's not that great of one.
And is it because of its location or is it because it's just not that great?
I just think it's kind of like something they ordered
and stuck in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Could you possibly improve upon that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like if it's not in a bad location, sometimes they just put fireplaces and you're just like, I can't sit over there. There's just, it'll be there. It's just like a piece of art, but there isn't any way to really get access to it.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a location's not the issue. It's just more, it's not great.
Totally.
So
it looks like let's just stick something there.
Yeah. I feel like that is going to be a key to that great room, just feeling cozy and welcoming and like where you really want to be in there. Focal points are pretty necessary.
Okay.
If you don't have one, it can be, something else, but it could even be just like a gallery wall or maybe just like a big wall hanging. But I think that you've got one. I just think improve upon it. Make it either clad the wall in something, is it just like basically just a hole in the wall and it's got an insert in it. And then
it's like an electric looking fireplace.
Oh, okay.
With like a shelf to put a TV above.
Okay. So it does have a mantle. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah. I would say if you could maybe designate, like widen out a little. So like, let's say that the firebox right now is like 3 feet wide, 3.5 feet wide. I would go like another 18 inches at least on either side, if not even like 2 feet, but something that you can widen out a little.
Okay.
And then go all the way to the ceiling. And it could be shusugi-ban, which is that it's a Japanese technique to treat wood. And it's like kind of black and has almost like a snake skin texture to it. It's really cool. I might not be making it sound really cool, but it comes in like planks. And so you can install it. It comes in really long planks, so you can make it vertical and you can have the planks all line up in a row. It makes things look really tall and really grand. You could also just make it like wood planks, like you lay out a wood floor, but it's dramatic. Like it just has this
I like that
rich
black sounding thing.
Yeah. And it's not sooty, even though it's like, it is burnt, it's charred wood. Normally you can't put wood around a fireplace. But this technique that they do with, by charring it, it makes it fire retardant. I don't know if it's fireproof, but I wouldn't try to put that to the test.
Cool.
So, or it could be maybe you get some funky tile or, any other sort of like ceramic cladding or brick or something like that. But it just feels like I'm really focusing on making that something cool. And I don't think it needs to cost you a ton. But I think that's really important for that room. And then tell me about your hopes and relationship with this kitchen. You said you wanted it to be like pretty and cute. How do you feel about it right now?
There's nothing in there. We wanted an island and I wanted a table. And a big chunk of the time we spend together is me sitting there while he cooks and visiting.
Yeah, you need your spot.
I need like a spot where I can be working on stuff.
So you could bring in you could do something that's built in, obviously, but you could also just get one of those kind of like cool, chunky carts. Restoration Hardware actually has some really nice ones that I feel like, because your house reads as newer than it is because it was redone in 2000, you said? So it's a 1950s? Yeah, so it's feeling very 2000 to me, even just with the finishes and design selections that they chose. So maybe something that almost is a little bit more modern farmhouse. Not going too far with the farmhouse kind of thing, but you are out in Corvallis and, you got the apple orchard. I feel like that kind of works out there. But just something that you could, that has like a little bit of an overhang that you could sit there, have a couple little bar stools, maybe if you had a girlfriend over or something and you guys are both just letting him wait on you hand and foot, just like more pasta, please. So, okay. So, and what about the kitchen itself? I noticed that it's pretty like white and gray, kind of stark.
It is. Yeah. It was like, I've never actually, I think this last couple of years, I'm finally learning like the bigger things you can do besides just textiles. I was really interested, like painting those white cabinets. Is that, like what color should they be? Or is that a thing? Or do you get new cabinets? With those like brand new white cabinets.
So what you do if you don't like the color and you like the layout. So if you like the layout, you like what's there, they're good cabinets. They're doing their job. So it's really when you're going to do a layout change, like, you just like, this is an L right now and you want to make it a U and you want to bring a peninsula in. So when you're changing out the cabinets, it's usually about the same price or less expensive instead of painting and trying to add on, just getting new cabinets. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. So if it's really about at least half of which you're going to redo or add on to, you may as well start over. So because if you've got to match the door style, if you're keeping the old ones, maybe there's just things that you would change anyway. Maybe there wasn't a lazy Susan in the corner and you want to add one. So to me, if you thought you were going to wrap that kitchen around, so right now it's an L, so you could make it a U, and then instead of having like a bar cart in there or something that you bring, now your peninsula is where you'd sit. You'd have an overhang on your peninsula. So it would be very easy to make that L into a U.
Cool.
Yeah. And then that's your spot where you sit. And you get extra storage. It's also kind of nice for the cook because they're not standing and looking at a wall when they're doing food prep or cooking. They're looking out into the room. They're looking at you. Yeah. Like, hi, honey. I like that idea. So
I need a graphic of what that means. So I guess I'll get that.
The U?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can help you with that. Or maybe we can do some sort of like something in the magic of podcast shows that we show that. I don't know if that's available. So
we'll let your people know.
No, I'm sure they'll tell us. So, but I think a peninsula would be the way to go. Then it doesn't feel like just this temporary kind of piece of furniture you just stuck in there. And I think it offers you way more benefits in terms of storage and just functionality. And I also think aesthetics. I think it'll allow you to change up the white to, make it a colored cabinet. Greens are beautiful. Blues are gorgeous. I wouldn't be afraid of those cooler colors because you've got wood floors to, counteract that, right? Wood floors in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when you have wood floors, you've just got a sea of warm already. So, when people are like, oh, I don't want blue because it'll be like kind of cold. It really isn't, because you've got all this wood, leading up to it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be too afraid of that. Or you could, if you were starting completely over, you could go with a stained wood cabinet.
Okay.
Those kind of went out of favor for a little while. Those are back with a vengeance. And, which means things do go in and out of style. Right now, we're really in love with just a clear coat, white oak, just like really natural.
Okay.
Just a little bit of character.
Minimalism.
We're kind of out of the maple is sort of.
Okay.
Maple is great for painted cabinets because it's nice and smooth and there's not a lot of character to it.
Okay.
But I think if budget is okay, I would probably say let's make that kitchen a little. It feels not very prominent. Like it just feels like it's kind of stuck over in the corner. That room's pretty big.
Yeah.
So I would say if you could make that a little bit bigger and just that U shape with that peninsula, get you an overhang for your spot to sit.
Yeah.
Then you add on to that room with your furnishings. Maybe you can bring in a table and chairs for dining room instead of using that alcove.
Yeah.
Now that alcove could be a opportunity though for a banquette too.
What's that?
The banquette is where you've basically got a built-in piece of furniture. Imagine like this corner right here.
Okay.
Has an L shaped right here. That's a built-in bench.
Okay, cool.
And a lot of times it'll be with an upholstered top, or maybe it's just got a cushion top. But it's a space saver. So if you have a small space like that, you can because you can push it against the wall and then you bring in a table and you can even bring in chairs to flank it. But a lot of times it's just about the L. Sometimes it's a U. U's are harder to get into.
Okay.
So yeah, you got to think about where that seating is going to be, because you probably will want to entertain and have people come out. And when they come all the way to the boonies where you're living, they're going to want to stay overnight in one of your funky rooms that you're going to do something cool with.
Yeah. Where do you order something like that you or?
Well, if you were going to redo your kitchen cabinets, the kitchen cabinet folks can make it out of kitchen cabinets.
Oh.
They can basically you can make it out of drawers. You can, it's a lot of times with those same people, or it can just be a carpenter you hire, or it could be a place that makes custom upholstered furniture.
Okay.
So there's lots of different ways you can do that.
Cool.
But really the term is banquette. So if you're doing a little Pinteresting, that's what you're looking at.
Okay.
But that could be good too if you didn't want to use that area for something a little bit more cozy and cool.
Yeah.
I think because of where it's located, it has an opportunity to be like a little featured, little special surprise.
Yeah.
What about some of the other areas? Bathrooms, laundry room. How do you feel about the finishes and stuff in there? Do you have goals for it? Or are you kind of we're going to live with it and just take a room at a time?
The downstairs bathroom got a lot of space because I think it used to be the master bathroom before they built on.
Oh, okay.
And so it's just a half bath, but there's it's a room. It feels big.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I need to figure something funky there.
This chair in it.
You could. And one of the cool things that I know I 100% want to do is one of the 3 bedrooms. It's on the other side of the washer and dryer hookup. So
it's going to be your boudoir. No.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. But I want to order a tub and have a really large tub in my room, my closet room.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that's...
She's speaking my language right now, big time.
I want one of those really large circle tubs in my room with my clothes. And that'll be where I spend my time.
When I first decided to be an interior designer, I was going to have a niche market where all I did was boudoirs.
Oh.
So this is just dressing rooms.
Yeah.
And just for women, sorry.
Yeah.
And, where all your clothes are, you've got wall of scarves and belts and handbags. You love this. You're
That's
fashion.
what I want to do.
But a tub.
Yeah. And add the
hell
tub
yeah.
in. Now, that weird room you have to drive up to on the other side of the house?
Yeah.
Nathan gets to have his man stuff in there.
Yeah, perfect.
So I get the tub room.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I approve of this. Yeah. That's just your own little special space. I had a boudoir once that was really sizable, and I bought this 1960s vintage curved sofa.
Okay.
And I would just hang out there with girlfriends and, drink wine and, we'd play a little dress up in there. I had my little makeup vanity and stuff. Like, I think this is a very important room.
I'm excited.
Yeah, especially for you with your fashionista background.
Yeah.
So what else? You have me here. Like, what other kinds of things about this house are
the huge garage?
Yeah.
Is super exciting.
I don't do garages.
Oh, you don't? Well, I don't want you to design the garage, but I'm excited about making half of it a gym.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we're doing that in there. And
that is nice to have that space, especially when you're kind of
we're going to put a sauna in there.
Okay.
We have a sauna. So that's a good spot for it. The master bedroom has a very strange closet that I think they built in there that they just was like, we're going to make a closet. It's like built-in.
Okay.
And
built-in meaning it's got like closet organizers and stuff?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But we want to tear that down and just make the master bedroom bigger because the bedrooms are pretty small.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was one of the plans there.
And you have another place you've got your whole room.
Yeah.
So, and then,
I've got the room. And then when you walk up the stairs to the bedrooms, there's a really long closet and Nathan can have that.
Okay.
So we don't need a
closet.
closet.
You're such a giver.
I'll take the room.
Oh my gosh. I love it. So what about kind of long term? When do you think of you living here is this your forever home?
No,
you're already moving out.
I've got plans. No, I have a goal of us doing within 2 years, since Nathan can work at most hospitals, I want to also buy a house in Joshua Tree.
Okay.
And we want to split our time because my mom just bought a house in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And she's 73 and she's crazy. Like she's in Southeast Asia right now. And I want to be near her.
Yeah.
So here in Portland, this new house is about 25 minutes from her. And then, so we'll be going between the two places.
Yeah. You just want to get out of the rain, I think.
I do. I need a break from Portland. It's drawn me back in since high school. I've tried to leave 7 times.
I know. What is it about this place?
I'm really ready to leave this time though.
I know. I can't leave because my family's here.
Yeah.
I got grandkids here and I do.
Your daughter moved here?
No, my son lives here. Oops, I just forgot that my daughter doesn't live here.
No, she lived in Scottsdale.
She lives in Phoenix. She lives in North Phoenix. So they're not here for me to visit, but my son lives here and my parents, they're 81. I can't
I get it.
I can't leave.
Well, my mom left, so I'm following her.
Yeah, she left you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
So we want to kind of keep this house, make it cozy, and then figure out.
So you'd sell to buy the house in Joshua Tree, or you keep?
No, we have a house right now. We're going to be putting on the market, and once that sells, we'll be able to buy the house in Southern California. And we're not sold on Joshua Tree, but in that area, that's Palm Springs, Anders, Yucca Valley.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful down there.
Puts us close to mom.
Yeah, and I just love that it's so completely different from here too. Like you can, I like the idea. I don't have a second home, but if I did, I'd want it to have a completely different vibe.
Yeah,
from my home base.
Yes,
just to get where else would you go? And I feel that way about rooms and houses too. That not every room can look the same. I think a lot of people kind of have such cohesion, which I believe in cohesion, but that everything kind of looks the same. So why even use the rest of the house? You just find the space that has the best light.
I totally agree.
And hang out in there. How is the light in your new house? Do you feel like
it's not my favorite, so it's just gonna have to do. It's a little. I was thinking about making a few of the windows bigger, but the times we've only looked at it 3 or 4 times, and I think it's been raining.
Yeah.
So now the spring is coming,
which just means more rain.
Get better.
You silly girl.
I think we need to work on light in the house. So
yeah, I think you do too.
In that great room, I was daydreaming of some huge orb light fixture that will make it really bright in there.
Yeah, but that doesn't help you during the day.
No.
Yeah. So you and I were talking at the when you first got here. You and I were talking, and I think light is very important to you. So I feel like that will end up bothering you. I think it's important to everybody, but there are people who never mention light as something that they seek until they live somewhere that's oh, I don't know why I love this place. I'm the light. So bigger windows. I wouldn't ignore this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say bigger windows. If you could put a skylight in, I'm not like super pro skylights, especially where we live, because they
always have problems.
They can fail. Yeah. They shouldn't, but they often do. But they do offer a lot of, like, especially if you can get on a southern exposure, just so you can get some light coming in. But that's the main, we don't care about north light really. So any of the windows that are on the west, east, or the south is the best for that. Really, it can also be the worst if you've got a clearing or whatever, and you're just going to get beat by the sun.
Cool.
But you can always get window shades for that. Yeah, or something to diffuse it, some top down, bottom ups. But yeah, I would say don't, if you're not loving the light, I wouldn't neglect that. That would be one of the first things I would do. Okay. Like I wouldn't be comfortable in my house if it weren't light. In fact, my house wasn't light when we first moved in.
And you added windows or skylights?
We vaulted the ceilings, and we painted all the walls white, painted the ceiling white. We did like a tongue and groove. I keep saying we, but it's not a we anymore. Anyway, he did that though.
It was a we.
It was a we at the time. But I am still enjoying it alone, and I love all the lights. So yeah, I would say just, I know it's cliche and all designers say it. I mean, I'd say 99% of designers are, please paint your walls white. Oh. Yeah, because, and I think the reason people say no on the white walls is that it's going to look too much like a hospital, or and that's just because they don't understand that it's not white. It's just like a creamy white. And I think the other is that it will just feel cold, like it just won't feel warm enough. And so wood floors, obviously, if you combat all that white with wood floors, it just does a huge amount. Or just bring in some wood furniture, bring in some warm touches, some brushed gold. What is the finished color in the house?
Silver.
Okay, like a satin nickel, or more like a chrome?
Chrome.
Oh, yeah, okay. And how's that working for you? Do you like that?
I like mixed metals.
Yeah.
So I was planning on
mix it up
with that.
I love it. Yeah, I feel like your good fashion sense is going to help you. I mean, you've got a quirky fashion sense, and you're a good buyer, and you kind of see how things go together. And, my background is in fashion as well. Yeah. And I think you just carry that sort of background and expertise right into your home. Pairing together mixed metals, not worrying so much about things and letting it be a little funky. Yeah.
Totally.
Do you have any hangups about that?
You told me something that...
you remember the things I say.
I know. It's really strange. We've met 4 times, but I do really like the things you say. I follow 0 people on Instagram. And since you started that new account, you're like, I watch every post that you post, and I love what you say.
Thank you.
But you said something when we were at it was like a thing for Grayling Jewelry, and we were both helping, or you were, I think there.
I was speaking at it.
Yeah. And we chatted afterwards, and you were kind of making that transition between fashion and home. And I've been doing styling for 20 years. And you said, I feel like both of them are the same. Like you're styling something, and that's how you made that transition into home stuff. And I thought it was such a weird thing. Yeah. But when you said that, I got really into design. I actually started liking designing my stores, and I actually liked styling my home, because I was like, oh, I do have this in me.
Yeah. So often we kind of just stay in our lane because this is my expertise. I'm not good at that. But it's you even think about black window frames, people are really eyeliner, it's there's everything is sort of doing the same thing, but just in a little bit different, composition. Yeah. So I'm glad you let that.
I had no concept of connecting the two until you said that. And then I really started to have fun with my secondhand finds in decorating homes.
Yeah. Well, I was doing a lot of personal styling, for men and women. Yeah. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest reasons I went into interiors was because table lamps and area rugs and other things, they don't talk about their body issues and their mom problems.
I totally understand.
That's what I liked more about it.
I don't work my stores very much anymore, but 98% of people, you hear them in the dressing room and there's a problem with their body. And I'm like, you are no one would ever see that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people sometimes, it's like I've had clients that when they would call or email, they would describe themselves. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to meet a monster at Nordstrom. This person's and then you meet them and you're just like, you're perfectly lovely. What is?
I know. Yeah. And the people I have bad knees. I'm like, what? Like your knees hurt? No, they're ugly. I'm
They're
like,
ugly.
all knees are ugly.
That's my line is, yeah, because
Oh,
I was
really?
actually working with this woman and I'm in her closet and she was like, I can't wear short dresses or skirts because I have these weird knees. And I was like, knees are weird.
Yeah.
I like, do you want to
so
see
are
my
elbows.
knees? Like, yeah, it's like, I mean, do you think your ear's not weird? Like,
I
you know,
know.
it's like, but we just pick ourselves apart. So
Right.
yeah, when I started working with inanimate objects, I was like, oh, this is nice. Nobody
Yeah.
talks back or, you know,
Totally.
yeah. So that's why I made the big transition. But
I
yeah,
understand.
you carry those skills right into it. And,
Yeah.
you know, everything we were before, that's like the interesting thing about people thinking they're doing like a big career transition. Like I'm teaching all of these aspiring designers right now.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, you know, I've been doing bookkeeping for like 15 years. I'm like, well, that's good because you're now going to be doing bookkeeping for your small business, you know, or people that were like in medical, like in as a nurse or a physician's assistant switching out of healthcare. I'm like, you're going to be so good at customer service. Like you've been talking to people all day, every day and being super helpful and selfless and just thinking about that experience for your customer. I mean, it's patient there, but yeah, I mean, it's so interesting that when people are doing the career transitions, like everything we were before, you know, you carry right into the next thing, you know, so nothing was ever a waste of time. And I love that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I find it really inspiring and interesting when people do listen to those voices. Like, I want to get further into like what lights me up and where my truth is.
Yeah.
And just not being afraid of making the leaps and trying new things, because that's what life's about.
Yeah. Anything on that level in store for you? Like, is there anything, what are you thinking about? I
told my mom this morning I'm going to start like making furniture with all the scrap stuff I have in my new garage. I'm not really going to do that, but I am my mother's daughter. She currently has a garage you can't get into because it's all full of her old store fixtures. My mom was also a small business retail store owner.
Okay. How cute.
I was telling the person who does our marketing at Consign Couture that I always have looked up to you in the way that you've pursued your business interests, because I have, in the last several years, pandemic coming out of that, just I really love and fulfilled by secondhand clothing, just because I've gotten really into like the aspect of there is too much and we can find enough that exists.
It's already here.
And that's been really fun to grow into that in my business. But I also have like, how do I strip down and simplify a business that I've been working on 12 years and create new avenues of parts of it that are fulfilling to me?
Yeah.
Because we have luckily built our life and we live frugally. We don't have children, where our basic needs and expenses are accounted for. So I really want to learn how to like do these little, like I have a book that I've written and I'm trying to, it's all about like how to build your own resale and consignment. So I want to have brain space to finish that.
Yeah.
And I have other endeavors that like I was doing shopping tours and before the pandemic, and I have some ideas to do that in Europe and have done some research on that. And who knows, but at least I'll have the ability to sort of pare down like the retail brick and mortar side of things. Just because that's changed. I mean,
totally
getting into like retail brick and mortar in the last several years in Portland is not the same ball of wax. Like all the major players that have owned resale stores over 15 years have their stores for sale right now.
Yeah.
There's not, and it's harder.
And you know what? You might have reached a point where you didn't want to do it anyway anymore. Like everything runs its course, you know? And I mean, that's when we have to kind of pay attention to what's up next.
Yeah.
And there's, if you're just staying in a state of awareness as much as possible, which isn't always easy because our monkey minds, but if you can really like be still and
just be open to the change. And like I've pared down my store and now we have one, and that one can exist in a different way. And if it can't, I'm not like, the pandemic really taught me, it's like, you don't need to be stuck on the thing. You can really like exist in different ways.
Yeah. We make assumptions that we're stuck and like, oh, I have to do this. And even though I don't really like it anymore, it's not really working. It's not making me super happy. There's other things that I'm actually not doing that I would be excited about. You know, it's like, those are things to really pay attention to.
And all of the stuff you did before gives you help, like propels you forward.
Oh yeah. I mean, even the failures, the things that like you tried. I mean, I was a wedding planner for like a hot minute until I realized brides are fucking scary.
Yeah. I was one and I was scary.
You were?
I swear to God I wouldn't be, but I was like, it rained the only day in September last year on our wedding day and I was nuts.
Oh my God. No, I couldn't. I mean, I literally did one and I was like, nope, never again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I love your attitude though. And I think that it sounds like you're kind of fine tuning what that next big thing is for you, but you got to make space for it. So if you don't clear out sort of the old way of doing things, people can go their whole lives and just like, gosh, I always wanted to do that and I never really did. Yeah. Now it's just too late. It's never too late, but until you're not breathing anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool that you have that attitude and that I was the inspiration for that. So no, I'm just kidding. No, I do like to try new things. It's even December is when I decided to do this design school, like just this last December.
Oh, wow.
And by March, we had a school.
That's amazing.
And I was going to recommend 2 books to you that really got me there. It was like 3 different things happened, just like the universe was tapping me on the shoulders. Yeah. And one is I did a design school about 1.5 years ago. I loved it. I was so like, I literally, it went by in like 2 seconds. I was like, God, that was fun. And then I was like, assumptions made. I have to go back to my clients. I have to go back to my real job. And I did have to go back to my clients. But I just like never thought about it again. I'm like, okay, I wanted to do that and I did it. It was really awesome and I made some good money. And it's like, oh, then why would you do that again? Yeah. And then I never thought about it again for like a year. And then just like 3 different things happened. One is I heard this speaker who basically does a program called the Life Coach School. And she talked about her model and it seemed like that's a ridiculously easy model. I could do that in the space that I have now.
Yeah.
And then 2 authors also spoke at that event I was at. One of them wrote this book called Bumpers. It's like a 35-page book. Okay. And bumpers basically are like, imagine like a bowling alley, the bumpers are up. It's basically you figure out what's in the gutter. What's in the gutter? All the stuff you don't want to do. So you got to always have your bumpers up to make sure you never go in the gutter. You just have to. You have to say no to things. Like this wasn't a line in the book, but another book I read is if it's not a hell yeah, it's a hell no. But I really like that idea of if you just absolutely know these are not places you want to be again, stay out of them. Don't say yes. So a lot of it is learning to say no and not being a people pleaser and just not saying, oh, it's not going to be that hard. I'll just do it anyway. And then you're like kind of miserable, and then miserable becomes kind of mad. And so, and then you're drinking too much wine, and then, all of a sudden it's a downward spiral. But so this book is great. I highly recommend it. It's by Nick Peterson. Okay. But that would be a really good one. It's literally like a little 35-page workbook. But by the end of it, you're like, I am 100% clear on what I should and should not be doing now. Then you read a book by Evan Carmichael, which is the 2 that I read after that, that networking thing I went to, that event. It's called Momentum. He's a big, huge YouTube sensation. And he's a really nice guy. I know both of these guys. Okay. And Momentum, I read it. So I went to this thing. I listened to this person speak. I read Bumpers just in bed before I went to bed. So it was like these 2 messages plus the fact that I did this school already. I read Momentum on the plane ride home and I designed the entire school. I mean, just literally in a 2-hour, 20-minute flight was just like, that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
So, but I feel like that's how it works.
It is. Especially when you're just like not so concerned about messing up. That's the thing that age gives you. Yeah. Is like, well, at least people like creative entrepreneurs, like I am just like, okay, it's not going to be perfect. Give it a go.
This podcast might suck and then I'm going to have to bury it.
I don't think it's going to suck. I did not know I was walking into this cool of a setup.
No, I've got a good team. They're going to make sure it's good.
Yes.
So, well, awesome. Anything else on any topic at all that you want to talk about? Any topic. Nothing's off limits.
With the design school, what bucket did that fill with? Like, why did you read that book and you're like, I got to do this school?
Because I love teaching and inspiring other people. I really, really get off on it. Like, I feel like it's almost like it feels like an obligation, but that kind of obligation, what's another word for it when it just feels like it's just it's my purpose. And
Yeah.
when I design homes, I feel really good. It's really rewarding. My
Yeah.
clients can't do what I can do. I love it. I love my own designs. All
Yeah.
interior designers love looking at their own work.
Yeah.
You get your photos back and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and but when I taught that workshop a year and a half ago or whenever that was, and then I taught at the Art Institute of Portland for 4 years. I taught entrepreneurship. I actually started out in fashion, and my fashion students turned me into everyone, the admin and the deans, and said, all Cammie tries to do is get you to start your own business.
Yeah.
She she's like, don't do retail. And I'm literally teaching a retail class. I'm like, oh no, unless it's your own business, but don't go work for, a major retailer. You're going to hate it. I've done it.
Yeah.
So I got kind of busted by, my students. And so the business department pulled me into teaching classes there. So I taught them for 4 years. I was really there for the health insurance.
Yeah.
That's why I was doing it, because it wasn't for the hourly pay, I can assure you. But so I kind of got the teaching bug then. And again, you just sort of like, okay, that was just a thing for health insurance. I never really kind of took a step back and realized how much I loved working with. I especially love it when it's all ages. Like, give me one demographic, like 20-year-olds, and no, it's just too much of the same thing. But I love it when we're all sharing our experiences. And that's what this school is. Like, I had a 20-year-old in the March school, and I think I had like a 65-year-old. So it was, and everyone in between. So just like having us all at just different life stages. And it absolutely meant to be what I'm supposed to be doing in this chapter. It's not going to be the last thing I'm going to do, but because I will be doing boutique hotels in Italy someday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I know a little thing about that.
You do?
Yeah.
Let's talk. Well, it was so lovely seeing you, for one, and thanks for coming on to my podcast.
I love what you've been sharing lately, and I was told this when I went through a crazy situation in my life. I shared a little bit of it. Yeah. And then it got too much because I was like, I don't want to be known as that person.
Yeah.
But your words, based on what you've been going through, you have no idea how many women you are helping by sharing that way. There's so many people that don't have that voice, that don't have that draw to connection.
Yeah.
And it's really moved me reading what you've been writing about.
Thank you.
What has come up, because we need that,
I think we have to just normalize challenges, shit that just happens.
People want to stuff
husbands
it and
leave you,
yeah.
And it's never, no one's ever left me or even broke up with me before. So it kind of feels good to experience like all of life's emotions. Like, I don't want to die and not have been broken up with and know what this like pain feels like.
Yeah.
As hard as it is to go through it. And I'm so grateful for this giant project that is design school to like immerse myself in. That's like selfless and for other people. I'm making money, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
I get it.
Yeah. Thank you though for that. It's felt really good. And I can tell from the comments I get on Instagram that I'm not alone out there. And I think it makes other people feel like, they're not alone either.
You know what people can see from the outside, and then this is the last thing I'm going to say. I have a theory of why men do that. There's lots of reasons, but there's a depth that you have worked towards achieving. And it's really hard to be a partner to somebody that is not willing to go and like get to that level of depth. It's like a mirror, and it's too much.
Yeah.
And so
I definitely think
men
that was
like, what else? Because that's too hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to have you on.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. I love kitchens with all my heart. This is the hub of the house. There are some rooms we totally ignore in our house, but never the kitchen, and it needs us as much as we need it. But it doesn't work well for us if it's not functioning properly and it's not maintained and constantly replenished. So it's not a room to ignore the functionality more than anything. My advice is have a kitchen that works and then think about how it looks, which is a very odd thing for an interior designer to say. I mostly think of form before I think of function, but the kitchen does not work if it's not functional. So really take your kitchen apart, examine it. Is there a place for everything? Do you put things back where they go? Does it make sense? Again, we need this kitchen as much as it needs us. So give it the time and attention it deserves.